My name is Kate. I went on Edge in 2021 and I went to a country in the Middle East. Yeah, so for preparation, the main thing I did was meet with my Edge coach. That was really helpful. At first, I was like kind of hesitant. I was like, why do I need to meet with you every week and read this book that like just sounds like way more homework than I need? But it was really helpful, and the workbook, just when I actually took the time to read it, I feel like it prepared me a lot, which was really good. And just having someone I could ask questions to and get help with was really good. And then I also just tried to start praying for my country and find as much out about the culture as I could. So I would watch like videos about the culture or try to find people I knew. I met a few people that I knew that had been before, so like asking them about it and praying for it and doing stuff like that was mainly what I did. So in the workbook, mainly they talked about stuff like preparing your like expectations at the right place for what you would be doing, not expecting yourself to do more than you can on a trip like this. And they talked about conflict in the team, which was actually really helpful to like have different ways to deal with that. They talked about processing and culture shock and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was really helpful. We didn't experience that much conflict at all, but normally it was just someone like getting irritable, or we were all like hot and tired. We've been walking for like 30 minutes wherever we've been going, and just realizing that we're all kind of just in a new place and we need to have grace for each other, and that if we're not on the same team, then no one's on our team. I thought it wouldn't be as Western as it was. I just imagined it like super different from America and the culture I came from, which it was, but I think that on the surface level, it seemed a lot more similar than I thought. And because I didn't know language that well, I couldn't, with everyone, get to the level where it's different with worldview and stuff like that. So it just felt a lot more familiar than I thought, but it was still culturally shocking because I couldn't talk to anyone. So there's just like, it was like in conflict in my head. A normal day in the city that I stayed in most of the time would be that I woke up. I would normally walk to the bakery because my best friend was the baker that was by my apartment. He was my favorite ever. And I would get some bread, and then I would walk to language lessons with my teammate. We were in pairs, so it was me and one other girl. We would walk together, and then we would do our language lessons with the local. We would eat lunch, and then normally if we had someone to meet with that we had made a friend or something like that, we would do that. Some days we would have a team meeting, or we would have a dinner with a long-termer. So there's a bakery that was like right by our apartment, so we like to go there a lot. We tried to be regulars at the places around our apartment. And he thought it was so fun that we had blonde hair. He like just thought that was really interesting because like no one has blonde hair. And we knew like a little bit of the language, but not very much. So we would like try to practice with him when we were ordering. And he knew a little bit of English, so he thought it was really fun to like try to practice his English. He was really just like happy. Normally people that when we went to like cafes or markets or something like that, they were like welcoming, but mainly just a little weirded out that we were there normally and a little off-put that we didn't know the language. But he just was always so nice, so that's why we liked to go see him so much. Yeah, we couldn't say much to him, but he really liked to, I would sometimes tell him to just pick for me, and he would like pick my bread every day for me. That was fun. So normally I got a surprise. He would just pick, and then sometimes he would give us free stuff when we ordered. He would be like, you need some baklava or whatever. And we would just go there every day. So he was always really excited when we came in, and he was always like, welcome. And it was just so sweet. So it just made my day to go see him every morning. Yeah, so I feel like one of the biggest things that I learned from this trip, I feel like I went in with really unrealistic expectations. Like I had read all the things, talked to all the people, but I still just, until I got there, I just didn't realize truly like the weight of not knowing the language, not really being able to talk to anyone or communicate with anyone. I think I just felt like I was going to be able to talk about the gospel and evangelize and all these different things, and that's just really not that realistic of an expectation when you're going to a culture that doesn't speak your language. So I had to wrestle with that a lot during the trip and just talk with God about my disappointments and how I felt like I was failing. And I feel like ultimately he just kind of was like, Kate, like, you came in with these expectations and I want you to meet me where my expectations are for you. And just realizing that like what he expects from me is that I love him and know him more, and that's like all. He just wants me to be passionate about him and what he's passionate about, and that should be first and foremost. And just realizing that like I'm really helpless. Like, I don't know, it was a very helpless experience for me, just feeling like I couldn't do anything, but just realizing that he's the one who does the work and it's not me. And even when, if I do move overseas and I am fluent in a language, like he's still the one that does the work, even when I am less helpless. So I felt like that was a good thing to learn. I think my advice for someone who is interested in doing something like this would just be to lean into that, to not get overwhelmed and give up on that, because I kind of felt that at first, like, oh, there's so many options, there's so many orgs, there's so many good things you can do in the States and abroad, but just, first of all, just like seeking God, and as you lean into options and opportunities, just leaning into what He would call you to, no matter what that is, and then also just fully looking into your options and seeing what you can do, and also just giving yourself the ability to do what you're interested in too. Like, I felt like when I was thinking about different places I could go or different things I could do, there were some things that sounded like the right option, but I didn't really want to do them. So just feeling like that's okay. Like, you don't have to want to do everything, and you can do what you're interested in. That's okay.